American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life.
Welcome to another episode of American Timelines. I'm Amy.
And I'm Merlin Olsen's Skin Tags.
Gross.
Yeah, there's a bunch of me. And we're all like, we've been cut off.
Stop it.
And
No.
we're just in a bag.
Gross.
There's a bag.
Stop it.
I'm a bag of Merlin Olsen's Skin
La
Tags.
la 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 la. I'm not listening to that. You went too far.
I did?
Finally.
I went too far?
Yes, that was gross. You should apologize.
I'm Merlin Olsen's Skin Tags. Okay, that's all right.
All right. And today we're talking about 1967.
Yes, this is episode 102.
Yep.
Jeez, it's just like 102. We're
That's
sorry.
crazy.
Man, just yet another
We
fucking
apologize
episode.
for
We're sorry
those
for this.
friends that are still hanging on and
Or friends that are
out
like,
of
"Yeah,
obligation.
Guess I still have to listen to Joe and Amy's stupid garbage.
because if they ask me about it and I don't know what they're talking about, I'm gonna feel like an asshole.
No, there's nobody that feels like that. I even have ones that were listening loyally at the beginning, and they're just like, I just can't keep up with that many. That's too much.
Yeah.
I can't listen to you for an hour and a half every week.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
I understand. You're really hard to take.
Oh my God.
We're in June of 1967, and so we left off at the end of May, so we're going to continue on.
All right, let's
And
do it.
we're going to start with something sometime in June. I don't know exactly when this happened, but I found this from weirduniverse.net.
Oh, these are my favorites.
Yeah, teens hooked on periwinkle.
Oh,
During a juvenile court hearing, a 15-year-old Florida boy revealed that he and his friends had tried smoking periwinkle leaves. He said that it made their skin tingle as though ants were crawling over
ooh!
it.
Why would you want that sensation?
I don't know. Subsequent media reports fanned fears of a widespread periwinkle smoking craze, leading health officers to warn that smoking periwinkle might lead to serious medical problems such as loss of hair and withering of muscle tissue.
And this was all because one kid smoked it.
I guess, yeah. And then people heard about it and they started doing it. But that's how anything starts. But I was just thinking, like, I kind of understand trying to smoke everything because
Yeah,
if weed works and it's great,
right.
somebody had to
Figure
try
that
it
one
the
out
first time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then, so why not try everything? Who knows? And then maybe you'll find something that nobody knows about, and then
That's-
it's free.
That's a sure way to get into like dumb ways to die, right there.
Just smoke everything.
Trying to smoke everything in your backyard.
Yeah.
I think that's a very bad.
No, I think it's smart.
Plan.
I think it's a good plan. Because how will you ever know if something? I'm sure somebody's at this point. Everyone's tried smoking everything.
You think?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You just said everyone's tried smoking everything.
No, someone has tried smoking
Okay.
everything. Is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
Everything's been smoked.
Yeah.
As
All
far
right.
as I know.
As far as you know.
I mean, you could probably find someone somewhere. Now, there's so many people in the internet that's connected. We're all connected.
that they're all smoking.
If you just Google what happens when you smoke
and 18 things come up.
dandelions, like,
Yeah.
let's just do it. Let's just Google.
What
name the
happens when
thing.
you smoke and then see
I'll
what
do-
the suggestions
Oh, yeah.
are?
What happens if you smoke? Whoops. I gotta spell it right. Smoke. The first thing, you want to guess what the first thing is?
Cheese balls.
Oregano is the first thing. What happens if you smoke oregano?
Somebody thought somebody got tricked,
Yeah.
thinking it was weed, and now they're
Wondering what happened
paranoid.
to him. Yeah.
Like, oh shit!
The second thing is what happens if you smoke plastic. That for the autofill on Google.
Plastic. Who smokes plastic?
I don't know. What happens if you smoke on a plane? What happens if you smoke coffee?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, like ground coffee?
Yeah, I bet maybe something happens. I now want to know all the answers. And then what
Yeah,
happens if
really.
you smoke salt?
Ew,
then
that
what-
sounds awful.
What happens if you smoke in a rental car? And then what happens if you smoke while pregnant? Which one of those ones do you want to know the most?
I want to know what happens when you smoke coffee.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know too. Because that might be a neat thing. The side effects of ingesting caffeine in this fashion include convulsions, diarrhea,
Oh, Jesus.
dizziness, hallucinations, vomiting, fever, and a bunch of other scary nonsense that has little to do with the method of ingestion. Vice.com has a headline that says, I tried smoking coffee and it made me feel like shit. People also ask, is smoking coffee harmful? And on Google, when you click it, the answer says, a highly hazardous combination. The dangers of an excessive consumption of coffee are already well known, such as, for instance, an increased blood pressure. What happens if you snort coffee?
Oh, why would you do that?
Snorting 1 teaspoon of caffeine powder is comparable to chugging 20 cans of soda or 30 cups of coffee in one sitting.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so I guess smoking it would be bad.
Snorting it's
It's
awesome.
really big. Yeah. Jeez, 1 teaspoon.
Holy moly.
Jeez.
Can you imagine getting that in your nose?
There's kids that snort caffeine powder. It's a deadly trend, I guess.
Of course there is.
Can you get caffeine from smoking coffee?
That's just a gross thought, isn't it?
I don't see any clear, answer, though. It seems like they're always talking about something else. Mm-hmm. What happens if you smoke coffee? Is smoking coffee harmful? It sounds like it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
This person in Vice.com. Mm-hmm. Oh, there was a story about teenagers smoking coffee grounds to get a legal high. Went viral. The reality is that ingesting caffeine this way makes you feel so miserable that if anyone was actually doing this for fun, they're completely stupid.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Diarrhea and convulsions and stuff.
Yeah.
Vomiting. It's like everything. Everything your body could do wrong goes wrong at the same time.
Yeah, and she said the side effects. That's what this is from. The side effects of ingesting caffeine: convulsions, diarrhea, dizziness, hallucinations, vomiting, fever.
It's all the things your body could do wrong.
But this person on Vice is saying this is a potentially fake fad. This didn't really happen.
Oh, probably not.
Nobody did it because it makes you feel so terrible.
Well, and why would you?
Anyway,
why would anyone
how did we
that?
get on this? Oh, the smoking periwinkle thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a fun little thing.
Yeah,
we did. That's a little
tidbit.
bit we could do. A little
tidbit.
I mean, that could be
The
a little
Google
segment.
thing?
That can be a
Yeah.
segment. Let's just Google something. I'm sure there's
See what the autofill
does.
does.
There's probably a whole podcast that just does that.
It probably is.
And then we get to June 1st, 1967. The Beatles released their iconic album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
I thought they did already.
No, we were talking about coming up with it. I guess it was finally released.
Okay.
It was released on the Parlophone label in the United Kingdom that day.
Mm-hmm.
And would be released on June 2nd in the U.S. It would be the #1 best-selling album in the United Kingdom for 27 weeks and #1 in the United States for 15 weeks.
Okay. Not too bad.
June 2nd, 1967, Louis Monge was executed in Colorado's gas chamber. You know who Louis Monge is?
No, I do not.
So this is not the one you decided to do.
Right, no.
Okay. On June 28th, 1963, Monge had murdered his pregnant wife and 3 of his children at his home in Denver. Then he turned himself into police. Monge would be the last person legally executed.
What the other
in the
part
US
about that
for
story
almost
that I
10
did
years.
read?
What? This story?
Yeah. He murdered his wife because she found out he was having an incestuous affair with one of his daughters.
Oh. Was it an affair? He wasn't raping?
No, he was probably raping. But because it was written back, the article I read was written in 1967. So
It's a little different how they looked at things.
yes,
then.
exactly.
That's the thing. That's, when you talk about someone forcibly raping someone and you call it an affair, it's like that. People got so upset when the Thomas Jefferson thing, they said, oh, he had an affair with Sally, his slave. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, that's not an affair. He owned the human and forced them to do everything.
Although I've heard different podcasts about it and read different things about it, and there is conflicting information because there is some that say that they were in love and that he was true love and stuff.
Well, I mean, that's like
I know that he owned her. I'm not saying that was
like,
right.
if you kidnap someone,
right,
and they have that, what's that, Munchausen syndrome, where they
not
love their
Munchausen,
captors?
Stockholm
Stockholm syndrome. I mean,
Munchausen.
that's
it's a little
still
different.
that's not a relationship that could be love. Like, I'm sure she didn't think it was love. She probably had to do it.
Yeah, probably right. All right, what's next?
Slavery was bad.
We can agree.
A race riot also began on that day. In predominantly African American Roxbury section of Boston. The first of many riots during the hot summer of 1967. When the rioting in Boston ended after 3 days, 70 people had been injured, 100 arrested, and millions of dollars of property damage had taken place. Violence in June would follow in Philadelphia, Tampa, and Cincinnati. Dayton, Ohio, and Lansing, Michigan, and Atlanta and Buffalo was so fucking hot.
Wow.
And people are just big time for racism. Like,
yes.
There's a lot of riots everywhere. I mean, it's a big time for
it's craziness.
Race change, like civil
upheaval
rights and all that upheaval. Yeah, nothing goes.
And nothing's
clean.
Easy. Nope.
Or something. Nothing's easy. Progress is not easy.
That's true.
The good
we see that now.
Yep.
In this moment, progress is not easy.
Progress.
You gotta go through. It's like giving birth.
Yeah, you get a black president, and then you gotta have a
pain and horrible,
an evil clown for a little while. The Goodyear blimp, one of two that had been stationed at Indianapolis for the 500 race earlier in the week, lost gas on its way back to Akron, Ohio, and was tangled in high tension electrical power lines to the east of Dunrith, Indiana.
What is this? An airplane?
Goodyear blimp.
Oh, the blimp got tangled in power lines?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Or just got tangled or what? We don't know
Whoops.
anything else.
Somebody getting fired.
Somebody fucked up. June 3rd, 1967, Aretha Franklin, Respect becomes the #1 song. Anderson Cooper, American TV journalist and CNN anchorman, was born in New York City to fashion designer Gloria Vanderbilt and screenwriter Wyatt Cooper.
Oh, I was going to say. I don't know.
You know who Anderson Cooper's dad is?
No.
What kind of an Anderson Cooper enthusiast are you?
I'm not one. That's the thing.
Jesus.
That's the problem.
Jesus, you're homophobic. June 4th, 1967, Jimi Hendrix played Seville Theatre in London. He opened his set with a version of the title track from the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album, which had been released just 3 days before.
He started his concert with that?
He started his set with a version of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which was just released 3 days earlier.
My God.
Heard it, listened to it, and already played it.
Wow.
Paul and George were in attendance
Oh, that's cool.
when he did that. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And then June 6th, 1967, the greatest thing that probably has ever happened in America. In New Haven, Connecticut, Paul Giamatti, American film actor and Academy Award winner, was born.
Stop.
You hate Paul Giamatti?
I can't believe he's younger than Anderson Cooper.
I know, he looks like he's going to be his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Giamatti, who could play Anderson Cooper's dad, is a day younger than him. Yeah, Paul Giamatti's not an attractive fella, but he plays a great John Adams.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, if you like dramas about presidents, June 8th, 1967, Chicago Police Superintendent O.W. Wilson issued an order effective July 10th directing that all members of the Chicago Police Department would wear hats with checkered bands.
I always wondered why they were the only ones that had that.
Well, I'm about to tell you. The distinctive look, still in effect half a century later, was implemented to end the practice by other groups that wore uniforms that closely resembled those of the city police as a means of extorting prostitutes and other offenders.
The Chicago police are one of the most corrupt, though.
Right, but yeah.
I mean, oh my God.
A separate city ordinance made it illegal for any group to duplicate the checkered hat bands. So you knew which ones were real cops.
Yeah, I get it.
But then the real cops were probably doing that kind
doing
of
the
thing
same kind of shit. Remember when we lived there?
Yep.
They were shaking down Polish immigrants and stuff. And
yeah, there was some stuff going on. It's not my fault, though.
It was all your fault.
I was never involved. One time
I kissed a bunch of them on my bachelorette party.
You kissed a bunch of dudes. I ever tell you about that time I was walking not far from our apartment. You know, we lived not too far from the police station that first year of Paulstead Street. Mm-hmm. I remember I was walking right in front of the police department, and right as I was crossing the street, a big paddy wagon came and parked right there on the corner, and two cops got out and opened the back door. Right as I was walking across the street. Like,
oh, my God.
They opened the back door, and a dude jumped out.
Oh, my God.
And like shoved the cops and jumped out, like, right in front of me. Like, and
oh, you should have tackled him. You would have been like a hero.
Been a hero. I think back to that all the time. He ran past me, but in my head, I had two thoughts. I thought, oh, should I tackle him and help the guys, or should I tackle the cops and help him get away?
Oh, my God.
Like, I really thought both, because he was a black guy, so he was probably not doing anything.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I was in one part of my head, I was like, fuck the police.
Right. It's probably what you were listening to.
Yeah, and then the other hand, I was like, oh, this guy could have been a murderer. I should help them. Mm-hmm. But I just froze and watched it all happen. And he ran like down the block, and then
did he run right by you?
Yeah, I mean, I was like, it was like a movie. Like, I was like,
are you sure it wasn't? They weren't filming it.
Oh, I'm sure it was not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was walking. Right, I was like, I feel like I was like right in front of, like, I feel like
it was so bumped me. Fun living in Chicago.
Yeah, we had
so
fun.
Exciting.
Yeah, there was lots of crazy shit like that. I met Don Cheadle too.
Yeah. All right.
Not at a separate time. Anyway, but I didn't do anything. I just stood there and then thought later all the things I could have done.
That's me too. I always do that kind
of thing. June, and no, don't at me here on Twitter. Don't get all mad, police, like Blue Lives Matter people. I didn't tackle the cops. I did think of it, but
in passing.
That's just because I was raised in the NWA. Yeah. June 9th, 1967. It was a Friday. Mm-hmm. Anne Pellegrino. You know who that is? Anne
Pellegrino?
Mm-hmm. You know who that is?
No.
And a crew of 3 people, co-pilot William Payne, navigator William Polhemus, and mechanic Leo Kepke, set out from Oakland to fly around the world in an airplane, following the flight plan that Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan had used for their ill-fated flight in 1937.
Oh, did they make it?
Earhart had piloted a Lockheed Model 10E Electra, and Pellegrino used a similar plane, Kepke's Model 10A Electra. The Earhart commemorative flight would be a success, returning to Oakland on July 7th after flying 28,000 miles in 28 days.
So so they just would stop and gas up and then keep going?
I don't know.
That you can't, right? You can't fly. I always wondered that about when flights go to like Australia from here. It's like they have to be stopping and gassing up, right?
No, you can't.
So how does a plane hold that much fuel? Am I stupid?
Planes are big.
It makes me nervous.
But I don't think you could fly with a small plane like that. You can't fly all around the world.
I don't know if I could fly to Australia or somewhere like that because it's all
the way around the world. They got to be stopping somewhere, right?
It's all over the ocean and stuff, and it just makes me so nervous. Like flying over ocean for that long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. That's what
it makes me feel like I'm. So I don't know if it makes me feel like I'm on one of those roller coasters where my feet are dangling.
Yeah, because anything like, goes wrong now.
Yeah, we're fucked. Not that the ground is, necessarily that much better. You're probably better off if you fly into the ocean.
Wait, Anne Pellegrino was a professional musician, teacher, author, lecturer, and farmer. Oh, here's the itinerary. Departed Willow Run, Detroit, South Bend, Indiana, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Ogden, Utah.
Oh, God, they had to stop all the time.
Yeah.
Because it was a little tiny plane, I guess.
Departed Oakland to start around the world. Tucson, Arizona, Fort Worth, Texas, New Orleans, Louisiana, Miami, Florida, San Juan, Puerto Rico, Caracas, Venezuela, Trinidad, it goes on and on. Mm-hmm. Australia, Canton Island, Hawaii, Denver, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Yeah, so it just kept stopping everywhere.
You always think people fly around the world along the lines of latitude, but you never think about them flying around the world along the lines of longitude.
Yeah, which is kind of what they did. Yeah, so that's why I was surprised. I was picturing them just going around.
Yeah, like around the equator.
We're idiots.
We're stupid.
We're not very.
We don't know anything.
We will never fly airplanes.
No, there's no chance of that.
I might get my pilot's license. June 10th, 1967 was a Saturday. The U.S. Department of the Interior declared what Assistant Secretary Cordell Moore referred to as a petroleum emergency.
Ooh.
Moore, who issued the declaration, sent telegrams to 21 American oil companies advising them of the action and called on them to meet in Washington on June 13th to begin work on plans to avoid disruption. At the time, the U.S. imported less than 5% of its oil from Arab nations. In the same day, Spencer Tracy died.
Oh.
Remember him?
Yeah, of course. He was a horrible alcoholic.
Was he? Mm-hmm. What do you think he died of?
He would just sit in the bathtub and drink for 3 days. Oops.
I'm going to fact check that.
It's true. Listen, you remember what happened when you fact checked Johnson getting his dick out?
Yeah.
When are you going to learn your lesson about it?
Did Spencer Tracy... Okay, did Spencer Tracy...
What comes up?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. Did Spencer Tracy, and none of them are drink in the bathtub.
Fuck a horse?
No, that'd be a good one. None of them are really that crazy.
Oh, okay. Marry Katharine Hepburn.
Yes, that is.
That's one.
That is the third. Wow. If you get 3 of them, I will let you put your fingers in my butt.
Oh, well, let me see. Marry Katharine Hepburn's one.
Yep. Did Spencer Tracy...
Did Spencer Tracy have a gay affair?
Nope, not on there.
Did Spencer Tracy have an alcohol problem?
Nope, not on there.
I don't know.
Did Spencer Tracy smoke?
Oh.
Did Spencer Tracy win any Oscars? Did Spencer Tracy
Why didn't I think of that?
live with his wife?
I was thinking of more outrageous stuff.
There's 2 of one an Oscar, yeah. Drink. Did Spencer Tracy drink? His problem came up. In the bath. Even if I do in the BA, it says Bahamas. Did Spencer drink? According to a St. George bellhop interviewed in 1960, Tracy would lock himself in the room, strip naked, and get into the bathtub. He would remain in the bathtub for a week, drinking up all the whiskey and not having to get out of the tub. Even to perform bodily functions.
See?
That's according to a bellhop.
But I knew it, and it's.
You know this bellhop?
No, but I knew
you were this bellhop.
I knew that was the story.
How do you know it? From the bellhop?
But
Who is the bellhop?
What I'm saying is, I knew that, and it's true. I'm not making shit up.
Well, there's an article from filmstarfacts.com that says Spencer Tracy, a nightmare of a man. And you can click on that. Okay, you win that one.
Again.
That round. Again.
2-0.
June 11th, 1967, a race riot started in Tampa, Florida. After a white patrolman shot and killed a fleeing black youth, 19-year-old Martin Chambers. The police said that Chambers and 2 other people had robbed Tampa Photo Supply, a camera store. An angry mob then set fire to white-owned stores on Central Avenue between Cass Street and Scott Street, burning down an entire city block.
Wow.
The unrest would be calmed down within 3 days by the recruiting of young African Americans to a newly created youth patrol. Earlier in that same day, the Tampa Suncoast Cup regatta was marred by tragedy when Bill Brow was killed when his hydroplane, the famous Miss Budweiser, flipped during the first race as he was approaching 110 miles an hour. And on that same day, Wolfgang Kohler, an 80-year-old German psychologist, died.
Oh.
He was a pioneer in Gestalt psychology.
I don't know what that is.
All right, Google it.
No.
No, we don't care. June 12th, 1967 was a Monday. With the close of the term, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Tom C. Clark retired in order to avoid any conflict of interest with cases brought by the U.S. Department of Justice, headed by his son, U.S. Attorney General Ramsey Clark. According to one historian, President Johnson actually appointed Ramsey to force his father from the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Clearing the way for the nomination of the first African-American U.S. Supreme Court Justice, who was...
Thurgood Marshall.
Yeah. Congratulations. You know your history.
He had a giant dick. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay, did Thurgood Marshall have a giant... I thought he was going to...
I'm totally kidding.
Okay, did... Whoops.
You're not going to Google that.
Did Thurgood Marshall Okay. None of them say
You have a giant dick.
a giant dick. They were die, cheat on his wife, have children, get married, win any awards, go to jail, have a family, play sports, serve for them. Did Thurgood Marshall have still children, a family, any pets, any hobbies? A famous quote.
How about have a giant?
Huge. Did Thurgood Marshall have a huge? Nothing comes up. Have a big brother, nose, forehead, and head. Never dick.
Never dick.
So I just got it. Even D.I. Dipper. Did Thurgood Marshall have a big dipper?
Does it even make
big
sense?
Big diamond, big dinner, big dig, dog. Nobody wants to know if Thurgood Marshall has a big dick.
Well, now you're going to hit search so that will come up now. I know you.
That same day, the Washington Senators defeated June 13th, U.S. Solicitor General Thurgood Marshall was nominated as the first African-American justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. He'd be confirmed in April and be seated October 2nd. The Washington Senators also defeated the Chicago White Sox 6-5 in a 22-inning game. What was up to that time, it was the longest night game in baseball history, lasting 6 hours and 38 minutes. The game in Washington had started
you might as well
at
kill
7
me.
o'clock.
I'll just take a gun and blow my head off at that point.
1:30.
6 hours?
Yeah, 6.5.
Oh, my God. That would be my version of hell.
You don't like baseball.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's so boring.
But think of all the Cracker Jacks. Think of all the Cracker Jacks you can
That's
eat.
good podcasting. All that yawning while you're talking.
Oh, this is a great podcast. Think of all the Cracker Jacks you could eat.
Yeah, and peanuts. Peanuts.
Scooter's Peanuts.
Scooter's Peanuts.
Pass me Scooter's Peanuts. I want to put Scooter's Peanuts in my mouth. June 16th.
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
I was at a baseball game.
Nobody cares.
Scooter had peanuts, and I kept trying to tell him I want to
touch
his peanuts. Scooter, can I put one of your peanuts in my mouth? Can I put your peanuts in my mouth? Scooter, your peanuts are salty.
So dumb.
Scooter, can I hold your peanuts? And then I would just crack myself up. Probably you. You were there.
Yeah, I was there.
We are the only people that thought that was funny. And it got funnier because
nobody was reacting.
And Scooter didn't think it was funny at all. He kept rolling his eyes, and that made it even funnier.
I know.
We're meant to be together.
I know.
Annoy the hell out of everyone together. June 16th, 1967 was the 3-day Monterey Pop Festival. You know what that is?
No.
It began in Monterey, California at the Monterey County Fairgrounds. One historian opined that it ushered in the era of the major music festival and helped launch the careers of several major rock artists.
Oh.
The musicians who performed on the first evening were The Association, Lou Rawls, Johnny Rivers, Eric Burden and the Animals, and Simon and Garfunkel. The nonprofit festival attracted 50,000 paid admissions and a crowd of 125,000 unpaid spectators and grossed more than $500,000.
Whoa.
The Mothers of Invention, you know who they are? Frank Zappa's group.
Okay.
They did not play the Monterey Pop Festival because Frank Zappa refused to share a stage with the inferior San Francisco bands such as Jefferson Airplane, Janis Joplin, and the Grateful Dead.
What now?
Frank Zappa refused.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not playing that with these amateurs that are
not
as good as me.
What an idiot.
And the ones that were played there were Jefferson Airplane, Janis Joplin, and the Grateful Dead were the new ones. And he was like, they're not good enough.
And Frank Zappa, like, who knows any of his music?
Yeah, just weird. Like,
stupid.
People are out there.
Yeah.
Love that. But this was a 3-day festival. Is remembered for the first major American appearances by the Jimi Hendrix Experience, The Who, and Ravi Shankar.
Wow.
The first large-scale public performance of Janis Joplin, and the introduction of Otis Redding to a mass American audience. This is all one festival.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And so it was kind of known as like the Summer of Love. This was like the beginnings of the Summer of Love.
So it's like a Woodstock, sort of.
This was what Woodstock, it made Woodstock happen. Like, this was the first one that was like, holy shit. And then everybody, we got it. Festivals became a thing.
Yeah.
The Beach Boys canceled. They were involved in the conception of the event and were at one point scheduled to headline and close the show, but they didn't do it because of a number of issues plaguing the group. Carl Wilson was in dispute with officials over his refusal to be drafted in the military during the Vietnam War. And Brian Wilson hadn't performed with everybody in a while. He was going to come back, and there was a bunch of stuff there. And they were kind of afraid that there was all these British acid rock groups, and they thought people wouldn't like them or whatever, too. But they were worried that Carl was going to get arrested because he refused to go in the war if he would go there. So Dionne Warwick and the Impressions were advertised on some of the early posters for the event, but Warwick dropped out because of a conflict in booking that weekend.
I bet she regretted that.
Yeah, she probably did. Declined invitations the Beatles were rumored to be booked because their press officer Derek Taylor was involved, but they declined since their music had become too complex to be performed live.
Yeah, they stopped performing live.
Yeah.
Because Paul had died.
But they suggested, because Paul was dead, that's right.
That's right.
Paul's dead. They suggested that they book Jimi Hendrix. So they wouldn't have had him if not.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan declined because he was still recovering from his motorcycle accident.
Right.
Hendrix played a tribute to him by covering Like a Rolling Stone. And speaking of the Rolling Stones, they did not play. Guitarist and founder Brian Jones attended and appeared on stage to introduce Hendrix. The group was on the short list of the invitees, but was unable to get work visas because of the drug arrests of Mick Jagger and Keith Richards.
Oh.
The Monkees were the biggest selling act at the time, and they were considered to play, but after weeks of deliberation, they didn't get invited. However, Mickey Dolenz was in attendance in full American Indian buckskins and a headdress, and Peter Tork attended the festival and mingled with musicians backstage.
Why did he wear that?
I don't know.
The 60s. This is fucking crazy.
Peter Tork introduced Lou Rawls and was involved in a bizarre incident where he walked out on stage in the middle of the Grateful Dead set to try to stop fans from climbing on stage and dancing.
Oh.
According to Eric Clapton, Cream did not perform because the band's manager wanted to make a bigger splash for their American debut later that year. However, it has since been revealed that Cream was not invited.
Oh, boom.
So, boom. And Eric Clapton's fucking face. His smug fucking Clapton face.
That's right.
Sorry.
His Clapton face.
Something about Clapton. I like his music.
You do?
I just hate his fucking face.
You're
so
kidding.
punchable.
You're making
You want to punch his face?
No, you're making shit up.
No. I just don't like his face. I really don't.
You're weird.
No, I just wish he had a different face.
All right. Well, okay.
Like, could it hurt him to have Ernest Borgnine face? June 17th, 1967 was a Saturday. U.S. Defense Secretary Robert S. McNamara commissioned a top-secret study titled History of U.S. Decision-Making Process on Vietnam Policy, which would, in 1971, be leaked to the New York Times and published as the Pentagon Papers.
Oh, okay.
June 18th, 1967, the very next day, American rock guitarist Jimi Hendrix made his American debut at that festival, appearing on the final day.
You just said that part.
Yeah, but I said the whole festival, but this was when he actually did it.
Oh, okay.
And The Who played on that day, on that last day. Anyway, I'll just take that out. June 20th, 1967, Muhammad Ali, recently stripped of his title as world heavyweight boxing champion, was found guilty of draft evasion by a federal jury in Houston after 20 minutes of deliberation. After the verdict, Ali asked for the sentence to be pronounced immediately, and U.S. District Judge Joe Ingram sentenced him to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine, the maximum penalty for the felony conviction. The next day, Ali's lawyers filed appeal, and Ali remained free on a $5,000 bond pending the outcome of the review of the case. Though barred from boxing professionally, Ali would spend the next 3 years on the lecture circuit at colleges and would be an actor on film and even in Broadway musical.
He was so talented.
Big Time Buck White was the musical he was in, before the U.S. Supreme Court would reverse the conviction on June 8th, 1970. So he never went to jail. That's good.
He was so.
I thought he went to jail.
He was so talented.
Muhammad Ali was yeah, he was a very dynamic person.
He's amazing.
The American, it's weird that you hate all sports and everything except that one boxer.
I love Muhammad Ali.
I know.
It's the rope-a-dope. It's
just an odd fit for you because you hate sports.
But he was like a Zen master.
You like that?
Yeah.
You like that?
All right.
The American Independent Party, a new political party that was organized to prepare for former Alabama Governor George C. Wallace to run as a third-party candidate for President of the United States, announced its plans to get on the ballot of all 50 states in time for the 1968 U.S. presidential election.
I wish one of them would come out now, like a real crazy racist.
Why? Just
run against Trump.
Yeah. Could be.
Bleed off all of those votes.
That's crazy nuts. Nicole Kidman was also born in Honolulu that day. Did you know she was born in Honolulu?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't even know she was Hawaiian.
I can't believe we're talking about it.
Nicole Kidman.
All right.
She had sex with Tom Cruise.
Probably not.
Oh, yeah, that was just a front.
Mm-hmm, I think.
He's gay as a Swiss clock.
I think. Who knows? Who cares? All right, what's next?
That guy's had more wieners than a Oscar Mayer
factory
mobile.
Okay.
That guy's filled with wieners all the time. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
Wieners in your butt, it's fine.
Okay, next.
In fact, I encourage it.
Next.
I don't know what I'm talking about. June 21st, 1967, before dawn, in front of the Twin Peaks near the center of San Francisco, where the celebration by thousands of American hippies of the summer solstice took place as planned by an underground newspaper, the San Francisco Oracle.
Okay.
There's a lot of naked, stinky
man,
people.
it smelled.
Naked BO people.
Yeah.
June 23rd, 1967 was a Friday. Mm-hmm. A pole vault record was broken.
No, we're not talking about that.
All 34 people aboard Mohawk Airlines Flight 40 were killed.
Oh, that's a bummer.
When the tail section of the BAC 111 fan jet broke off in mid-flight and the plane crashed into a hillside near Blossburg, Pennsylvania. The accident happened shortly after the flight's takeoff from Elmira, New York, en route to Washington, D.C. Stuff. June 25th, 1967 was a Sunday. An estimated 400 million viewers around the world watched Our World. You know what that is?
No.
Never heard of this. The first live international satellite television production. The 2-hour program was seen in 26 nations on 5 continents. In the UK, the show began at 8 o'clock p.m., and in the U.S., it was starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
Okay.
The Australian Broadcasting Corporation carried the live program in the early morning hours of Monday the 26th, or began at 5 in the morning. Nobody cares about that.
Nope.
Australia got the short end of the deal there. The telecast opened with the birth of a baby in Mexico City and the debut of the Beatles song All You Need Is Love from London. The Soviet Union and its Eastern European allies had withdrawn from participation 3 days earlier as a protest against the Six-Day War. And there was a bunch of stuff about the Six-Day War, but it was mostly like...
Yeah, who cares?
Not American, so we wouldn't know it.
Not that it doesn't matter.
It does matter, but this is American timelines, not Bosnian timelines.
Right. Not yet. That'll be our next
Bosnian
adventure.
timelines will come out in the fall of 2049 with our Bosnian friends. June 26, 1967, the White House staff announced in Washington that negotiators for the United States and Panama had reached an agreement on a treaty regarding the Panama Canal.
Oh, good.
Also, there was a race riot in Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
That continued until July 1st, where 200 people were arrested. And on June 27, 1967, the first automated teller machine began service at a branch of Barclays Bank in Enfield Town in North London.
Well, what is this robot that's taking my card and giving me money?
I want to talk to Janice. I usually talk to Janice about how much money I need this week for my groceries and my
I
dry
don't know
cleaning.
about this new thing.
Can I call her Janice? Could she be shaped like Janice with that big melon of Janice's?
All
and
right.
those big voluptuous breasts?
Stop
Oh,
it.
sorry. Carl Wilson, on June 27, 1967, the lead guitarist of the Beach Boys, was acquitted by a federal court judge in L.A. of charges of draft evasion. Wilson testified that he was a conscientious objector.
Yes.
The defense that had been rejected earlier in the month for Muhammad Ali. Mm-hmm. But they accepted it now.
Okay. Because they saw that the appeal didn't work. Or maybe.
Well, they said because he's white.
Oh, maybe.
Probably because Muhammad Ali hadn't,
That's true.
he had just got convicted. Mm-hmm. All that other stuff that when he got off hadn't happened yet. Thursday, June 29th, 1967, Jayne Mansfield was killed in an automobile accident.
That's right.
And you said there's some...
there's an urban legend that she was decapitated, but that's not
true. She was in Biloxi, Mississippi for an engagement at the Gus Stevens Supper Club. After 2 appearances on the evening of June 28th, Mansfield, Sam Brody, her attorney and companion, their driver, Ronnie Harrison, and 3 of her children, Miklos, Zoltan, and Mariska, left Biloxi after midnight in a 1966 Buick Electra 225. Their destination was New Orleans, where Mansfield was to appear on WDSU's midday show the next day at about 2:25 a.m. on U.S. Highway 90 west of the U.S. At about 2:25 a.m. on U.S. Highway 90 west of the Rigolette's Bridge, the Buick crashed at high speed into the rear of a tractor trailer that had slowed behind a truck spraying mosquito fogger, shrouded in an insecticide fog.
Jeez.
The 3 adults in the front seat died instantly. The children asleep in the rear seat survived with minor injuries.
The poor kids.
Yep. Yeah.
Probably traumatized.
Reports that Mansfield was decapitated are untrue, although she suffered severe head trauma. This urban legend started with the appearance in police photographs of a crash car with its top virtually sheared off and what resembled a blonde-haired head tangled in the car's smashed windshield. However, the blonde object was a wig Mansfield was wearing and possibly parts of her real hair and scalp.
Yipe.
Her death certificate stated that the immediate cause of death was a crushed skull.
Oh, God.
With avulsion of cranium and brain.
Oh, God. So she must have just been pulp.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. That's
Hopefully
probably why
it happened
they
so fast
said
that it doesn't hurt or anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Yipe.
After her death, the NHTSA recommended requiring an underride guard, a strong bar made of steel tubing, on all tractor trailers. The trucking industry was slow.
So their car went under a truck?
Yeah, it could like rip the top off or something. You know, kind of like in, was it Blues Brothers? The top of the car gets ripped, or Smokey and the Bandit or something goes under a truck like that.
I thought they said it was a convertible, no?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did they?
Maybe they didn't. God, a crushed skull. That would be awful. And then that's what the kids found.
Oh, that's terrible. Woke up to they just woke up to all that. The death car was saved by a private collector in Florida where it became a roadside attraction in the 70s.
Ew, morbid.
As of 2019, the car is owned by Scott Michaels and is housed and shown at his dearly departed Tours and Artifact Museum in L.A., across from Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
Oh, man.
You gotta know about her funeral?
Was there anything interesting?
I don't think so. That same day, the U.S. Department of the Post Office announced a new service where for $1, one could locate the last recorded change of address of a person who had moved away under the Freedom of Information Act.
Oh, God. That's scary.
Isn't that crazy? Also, Jeff Burton was born.
Who?
Jeff Burton.
All right.
An American NASCAR driver.
I'm going to ask.
He was born. And then that brings us to June 30th, the last day of June. NASA, the American Space Agency, announced the selection of U.S. Air Force Robert H. Lawrence Jr. as the first African-American astronaut.
Cool.
Less than 6 months later, however, Lawrence would be killed while training a pilot to fly an F-104 starfighter jet.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It is a bummer. Finally get a black astronaut, which everyone wants.
That's
and
right.
Then dies.
Poor guy.
Why would you ever have a white astronaut after that?
I know. Why aren't they all black?
Yeah, I'm tired of white.
Yeah.
I don't want any white people in my life anymore. Could you get out of here?
Get out of here?
Yeah. I'd like to replace you with Michelle Obama.
I'm more black than you are.
What? Let's take a quick break before you get to your story, because that brings us to July 1st of 1967.
Okay.
And listen to this awesome advertisement for a cool new podcast. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, History for Jerks presents our newest podcast, Urethra Franklin. Take a listen.
Hi, this is Dr. Bernard Franklin, and this is Urethra Franklin, the podcast that celebrates the penis. On this podcast, we will be talking about many things, all involving the penis. I am a world-renowned urologist and have gathered many stories about the penis.
I heard something downstairs, and, I had an erection, but I'm in my own house, so, whatever. And so I get up to go check it, and I tripped over a dog toy, and I literally hit my penis on every single step going down, and it broke. It hurt. God damn. Can I swear on this? Yes, feel free. God damn, it hurt, and there's blood spurting, and I called 911.
911, what's your emergency?
I broke my wiener! I broke my wiener! Sir, calm down, sir. Calm down, goddammit! I broke my wiener! It hit the stairs, every stair! Oh!
Wow, that is quite traumatic.
You bet your ass it was.
Enjoy our new podcast, Aretha Franklin. And as always, RESPECT. Find out what it means to your PP.
Aretha Franklin coming in fall 2035. And we're back. Thank you. Please listen and subscribe to that podcast. In the meantime, one thing during the break I just discovered as I was looking through this Jayne Mansfield accident a little more.
Yes.
Did you catch the names of her children who were in that accident?
Oh, no, I don't know.
Do you know that one of them's famous?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Yeah. She was on Law and Order SVU.
What's her name?
Mariska Haggerty?
Mariska Hargitay.
Hargitay.
I didn't know she was Jayne Mansfield's daughter,
Yeah.
and she was in that horrific crash.
Yeah.
Why didn't you stop me and say that's Mariska Hargitay?
I thought you knew that.
I said their names, Miklos, Zoltan, and Mariska. You wouldn't think to say Mariska Hargitay, jackass.
I don't know. Anyway,
I didn't know that, and so I really quickly while you were out taking a dump.
I was not
during the
Stop
break.
That I was reading to our child.
Oh no! During the break just now, while you were painting your toenails, I was Googling a little bit of Mariska Hargitay, and I came across a headline where some coworker of hers on Law and Order said she's a real bitch.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well,
she should be.
Yeah, she should be.
She was 3 years old, and her mom was decapitated.
Not decapitated, but her head was crushed.
Let's just go with the decapitation thing. Anyway, now we're back, and we're going to get into your crazy, horrible story starting July 1st, right?
Yes.
1967?
Yes. I'm going to talk about the Lost Colony murder.
Ooh, the Lost Colony murder. I don't know what that is, but that happened on July 1st of 1967? The murder did?
Yes.
You're saying this murder you're about to tell me happened the same day that... Now, don't get mad. This isn't just a birthday. That Pam Anderson was born, but there was controversy over Pam Anderson being born.
Why?
She was labeled officially Canada's first centennial baby.
Oh.
Because July 1st of 67 is 100 years after Canada was founded or whatever.
Okay.
100th anniversary of their founding. And so everyone for years has thought Pam Anderson is this famous thing with Canada. She's the first one. But luckily, local sleuth from Regina, Saskatchewan, Barb Pachulik, luckily for her, she's from the Regina Leader Post, and I've been doing some digging on her. She's been there for 31 years. According to LinkedIn, she's been there for 31 years.
You really did some investigative
but you also
journalism here.
This Barb Pachulik also wrote a book about true crime, Sour Milk and Other Saskatchewan Crime Stories.
Oh.
So we should buy it just because she's such a sleuth. She figured out Pam Anderson was not the first fucking baby.
Oh.
She wasn't even close because she was in a different time zone. There's a bunch of babies born before her, but yet everybody touts
just attributes to her
as the first one. But there's all these unknowns.
Yeah.
And
how about, here's what I got to say about that. Who gives a fuck?
Barb Pachulik does.
No, I don't.
Barb Pachulik is a hero.
All right.
She's a fucking hero. So the same day Pam Anderson was born, but not the first baby?
Okay. Brenda Joyce Holland was a 19-year-old girl. She was a student at Campbell College.
Okay.
And she was working this summer as a makeup supervisor for the Lost Colony Outdoor Drama. And this is in the Outer Banks of North Carolina.
Oh, Outer Banks of North Carolina. I was going to say, where is Campbell College? I've never heard of it.
Yes.
But it's in Outer Banks of North Carolina. That's the same state that American Timelines is recorded in.
Yep. According to reports and old newspaper clippings, one night after the play was over, Holland left the theater with one of the actors, Danny Barber.
Was she an actress also, you said?
She was the makeup supervisor.
Manager? Oh, makeup supervisor. Oh, you need a supervisor for that.
According to old writings about the investigation, the two went on a date.
Ooh, makeup girl and an actor getting it on.
They walked out on... Gay? All right, you're interrupting too much again.
Sorry, I'll stop.
Walked out on Jeanette's pier and went back to Barber's house. But when he fell asleep, Holland walked home.
He fell asleep on the pier?
No, they went back to his house.
Oh, back to his house. Sorry.
The young woman never made it home and never showed up for work the following day.
Oh, and here I am making light of it.
It was not until 5 days later that a pilot with the Civil Air Patrol would discover Holland's body in the Albemarle Sound washed up against a stump.
Oh, no. Wait, 5 days later, she was washed up on that stump? Mm-hmm. The same day that 94 people, mostly children, were killed when a double-decker train collided with a gasoline truck at a crossing in the East German town of Langerweddingen, 7 miles southwest of Magdeburg.
Jeez.
That same day?
Yep.
Wow.
So, back in 1967, the sheriff Frank Cahoon told the Holland family, Brenda's family, that all leads pointed to Danny Barber as the killer.
Well, you would think. He's the last one to see, yeah.
But he was never charged.
You know, you can't trust actors either.
The sheriff told the Holland family they needed more evidence to file charges. But they couldn't.
So they just found her in the water, dead, and that's it. Mm-hmm. She's going to fallen in?
Well, she was murdered. She was obviously murdered.
It was obviously a murder.
Years went by, no charges were filed, and Brenda's mother and father died without any certainty of who their daughter's killer was.
The end.
In 1986, years after the murder, a friend came to the Hollands' home carrying with them an article.
Wait, in 1986, the same year that my first car was made, the 1986 Ford Tempo?
And they were carrying this article about a woman named Dottie Fry.
Okay.
In the article... it wrote about how her late ex-husband, Dr. Linus Edwards, had killed a woman years ago, mistaking the woman to be Dottie. So Dottie came forward and said, my husband killed a woman, thought it was me. We were in a fight and he was in a drunken rage. And he killed someone.
Thinking it was her. So the next day he woke up, sees Dottie next to him and is like,
but who did I kill?
It was all a dream, or I killed someone. Oops, I meant to kill you.
Yeah.
And then he tells her?
Yeah.
And then he explains to her, I have a confession to make.
Apparently so.
I thought I killed you.
Mm-hmm. He was the only dentist in town at the time, incidentally.
Wait a minute. The only dentist in town?
Yep.
What town?
The Outer Banks.
The only dentist in town in the Outer Banks thought he had killed his wife.
Yep.
Was upset later when he realized he didn't kill his wife is still alive, and then he tells her that I killed someone thinking it was you. Mm-hmm. What is your reaction? Like, say we have this conversation tomorrow morning. Yeah, I'm covered in blood and scratches and everything, and then I'm surprised to see you, and then I say, "Oh, I thought I killed you last night." What are you going to say? I wonder who it was that I killed because I thought it was you.
I thought it was you. I could have sworn.
Shit, that means I killed somebody that was innocent.
I could have sworn it was you.
That wasn't such a bitch.
Yep.
Would you just say, well, you're the only dentist in town, so
pretty much.
Fix this molar?
And she, the wife, Dottie, she was also a well-known member of the community.
Oh, okay.
And Dr. Edwards...
The Dottie that wasn't killed.
Yes.
Was scheduled to be killed.
That's right. But Dr. Edwards killed himself in 1971.
So he had already... By 86, when this article comes out...
Yes.
Whoa, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. So Brenda's sister, Joyce Thorne, looked to get to the bottom of whether or not this new theory was true, but there was all these roadblocks in the way. She wanted to see pictures, the evidence taken from the 1967 crime scene.
Yeah.
When the pictures were developed, there was nothing on the film.
What? Does that mean they're ghosts?
Someone, and then there was another
lens cap?
Weird thing. Someone told someone, she doesn't know who, to wash her clothes. So they took the clothes off the body and washed them. So if there was any evidence, it was gone.
But you don't know who told who
to
do that.
Then they find out years later that all the evidence for the whole case was gone, was destroyed, thrown away, literally thrown away.
So once the dentist realizes, oh, oops, I meant to kill my wife, but I killed this person instead, and I don't want to go to jail for it. I am the only dentist in town, so I will go ahead and talk to all of my clients. The detectives come see me. I fix their teeth.
Yep.
I fix the prosecutor, and I'm just saying, hey, so here's the thing. You know how Dottie's a fucking bitch? Mm-hmm. Well, I tried to kill her, but I accidentally killed somebody else. Help me cover it up. And boom. Okay, dentist. I want dental care, so okay.
Yeah.
That's it. That's happened.
Well, the sister knew the forensic scientists would never be able to test the evidence because she called it the good old boys club, that the sheriff's department, that there was some kind of cover-up or something.
You know, there's a lot of that. People don't know that, but there is.
The family wants the cold case file left open because there's no evidence. They think they know who the killer was. It doesn't take away from the unprofessional handling by the sheriff's office.
Huh.
The physical evidence in Brenda Joyce Holland's case has apparently been lost forever. While cold case investigator Tony Cummings has worked hard in the past several weeks to solve her case, it's become increasingly apparent that past mistakes made in the probe may have made the assignment extremely difficult.
Wait, are you saying Tony Cummings, like now, is still working on it?
Mm-hmm.
To this day in 2020?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, let's contact him.
I mean, maybe this is... I can't remember how old this article I got this from was.
Can you find out real quick?
No, it doesn't matter.
No, it does know. Our listeners want to know. But if he's still working on it, we're going to try to get... What's his name?
Tony Cummings.
Tony Cummings.
Yep.
I'm going to Google Tony Cummings right now while you talk, and I'm going to try to get him on a podcast. I'm trying to book him.
All right.
Okay.
So...
I can close Barb Patchelick's LinkedIn page.
So he said they've been revisiting some older unsolved cases to see if potential DNA evidence is present that could be analyzed with today's technology.
Yeah.
But then he said, however, some of these cases are so old and there's no physical evidence that it's all been destroyed.
Really?
So the lack of physical evidence makes the case all that harder to solve. So the case file doesn't exist, but it's readily apparent that a strong circumstantial case could have been made against Linus Edwards, the dentist.
Yeah.
Edwards may have driven to the top of the old bridge to Man's Harbor in the pre-dawn hours of Saturday, July 1st, 1967, and threw Brenda's body into the Sound.
Oh, man.
5 days later, on the morning of Thursday, July 6th.
Oh, the same day that's when she was found.
Oh, I didn't give it.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. A search pilot spotted a body in the Albemarle Sound near Michoud.
That was when the bus crash happened, but also the same day that U.S. Air Force Major General William J. Crum was one of 6 people killed when the B-52 bomber he was on collided with another B-52 over the South China Sea. Mm-hmm. Crum.
That's a bummer. So the crime scene was really mishandled from the start as well.
So, yeah.
The newspaper photographer removed a necklace from Brenda.
Oh, my gosh. Stole it?
They stripped away any clinging skin, washed it off in the Sound, and photographed it. And that might have been, the newspaper reporter might have had good intentions, but...
Just didn't know.
But the sheriff should have stopped him, is the point. Even in 1967, the crime scene should have been better preserved.
Yeah.
Hours after the body was found, investigators then gave the necklace to Brenda's father, according to a newspaper clipping, and there's no record in the file of it being preserved as evidence.
Oh boy!
But
necklace.
She had been strangled, so in a strangulation case, especially.
Yeah, something goes around her neck.
Yeah, it could have had.
Was it a pearl necklace?
Stop it!
I was asking.
I don't know. I have no idea.
ZZ Top would like it.
Stop it.
They're a good band.
Okay, so in an interview with the Charlotte Observer,
Charlotte, North Carolina, y'all.
Published on August 9th, 1967, just over a month after Brenda's body was found.
Oh, that was published the same day the city of Denver, Colorado was shaken by the strongest earthquake ever recorded in that state. Although nobody was injured, the 5.5 magnitude tremor was strong enough to shatter windows and be felt with a 120-mile radius. And the same day that Deion Sanders was born in Fort Myers, Florida?
Yes.
That same day?
The sheriff hinted at problems with the crime scene. The crime scene actually began a few days before Brenda's body was found because there were searches of areas where items of hers were found scattered. Right from the beginning, hundreds of well-wishers wanted to help search for the body, the Cahoon told the Charlotte paper.
Hey.
They wanted to search the woods. I couldn't turn them down, but I had to organize them, and that took time when I should have been doing other things.
That sounds like just like a cop in the 60s.
The weather didn't help. As the searchers began their work on Monday, July 3rd, a rainstorm hit that wouldn't have helped with any footprints.
The weather didn't cooperate, see? On July 3rd, the same day that Norwell Gums began duty with the Metropolitan Police Service as the first non-white policeman in London.
All right.
Norwell Gums, y'all.
Also, according to the existing file, the sheriff sent a letter even to J. Edgar Hoover about the case.
Really?
And it said, "Dear Mr. Hoover, I'm sending you this date a box of clothing belonging to the above-named victim. Clothes that she was wearing the day she disappeared, and also the clothes that were removed from the body after its recovery from the waters of Albemarle Sound."
Why did he send it to Edgar Hoover?
I don't know. I don't know. A July 24th, 1967 response from the FBI to Cahoon's inquiry said the clothing included a dress, bra, panties, skirt, and handbag.
Huh.
But the clothing is gone, so it's just these letters that indicate that they were passed back and forth.
That they were passed to them. They arrived.
And they even had... They had a manila envelope containing hair specimen from hair rollers belonging to the victim, and that was gone.
Really?
And clothing tags reportedly from the blouse that she was wearing at the time of death. The blouse is reportedly from a store in Manteca, North Carolina, and bought soon before her death.
This is all just written, but nobody sees this stuff.
Yeah.
This was all discovered on July 24th, 1967. The same day that the first time ever tourists were allowed to travel to the top of the 630-foot high Gateway Arch in St. Louis as a train inside the arch was inaugurated.
Ugh. I've never been up in the arch.
I don't know why you want to.
From St. Louis. I never did it.
I would never want to. You almost forced me to once.
I would get scared, I think. Is it scary?
I didn't do it.
Oh, I thought you did when you were little or something.
Nope. You were trying to make me do it, and I was like, hell no.
Oh, I was?
We were going to do it, and then it was like the line was too long or something.
Oh, yeah.
And if somebody had whooping cough in there or something.
Can you imagine? I wonder if they've closed it because of coronavirus.
Should we call them?
That would be... Talk about getting a coronavirus.
Yeah.
Get into a elevator with 20 other people.
Yeah, it just goes up and up and up forever.
Yeah. It start freaking out. What if somebody started freaking out in there? Wouldn't it be awful?
I wonder if anybody's had sex in it.
Oh, gross. I'm sure they have.
Why? Why are you sure?
St. Louis, first of all.
Oh, sorry, St. Louis listeners, but Amy is disparaging you as people.
So, basically, they knew that even if they were to find the evidence without the chain of custody and everything, it would be the defense would be able to drive holes through the prosecution.
Well, what's the point? The guy's dead anyway.
Right. And
but you could pin it on his children, make them suffer.
I don't think so. I don't think that's how
make
that works.
Those people suffer.
But
that's
so everybody pretty much thinks it was the dentist, but
it was the dentist.
The police looked at the actor boy that she was with.
Well, they shouldn't, because obviously this dentist has admitted he killed someone.
Yeah.
The same night, the same place.
Yeah.
And he meant to kill his wife. I'm sure. Why do you got to prove it?
I know. It's true.
Apparently he's admitted it, right? That's what I don't get, is how she knows.
Well, he must have told her.
He had to tell her.
Yeah.
That's an awkward conversation.
It sure is.
Over bran flakes in the morning. Pass me the crackling oat bran.
The weirdest thing happened to me last night.
I really tried to kill you last night. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad
swore.
it was somebody else I killed.
So I know that was kind of a lamer one, but I couldn't find
that
anything.
Was probably the best one you've done.
You always say that.
I know.
It didn't really have a story to it.
No, it had the most unbelievable story. This is the best thing you've ever said.
Oh, my God.
Everything else you say sucks compared to this.
You know what? I'm starting to get offended.
No, I don't mean that. It's just like, the rapes and the murders is just enough already. This is crazy.
Yeah.
The guy tried to kill his wife, killed somebody else, surprised the next morning when his wife's still alive, and then tells her.
Yeah.
Why would you tell her?
All right.
And he was the only dentist in town. What the hell are the chances of that? The only fucking, that dentist? Yeah, that's your only option. You got to get that molar looked at. Go to this guy. What's his name? Linus?
Yeah.
I know it's a strange name. And he also killed somebody once. He meant to kill his wife, kill this other lady. But anyway, other than that, he's a great dentist.
He's all
the
you
only
got.
option here in the Outer Banks.
All right, it's time to get out of here, Chuck Berry.
I drove a Wave Runner in the Outer Banks one time.
Nobody cares. It's time to get out of here, Chuck Berry.
It's time to get out of here because Chuck Berry's in here taking a poop. Shout out to everyone. I get a lot of feedback about 100th episode. People are liking it.
Did you get any feedback?
Yeah, Dan Briggs listened to it in the car with his lady friend, Iceman. Yeah, they liked it. And his sister and they both, his sister and his sister's partner both said, please turn this off. They didn't know it was
oh, really?
Yeah, one of them had a headache. Can we have to listen to this? And the other one doesn't murder at all. So
they were like,
can you turn this off? Other than that, everyone else was like, yeah, we liked it. Someone Kevin Vance, whose wife loves the podcast, and he's like, I hate it because you're on it, but your wife's fine. He listened to the 100th episode, and he said he laughed. He loves Armand Crisp. He got a really good kick out of him. So we got to bring in Armand Crisp back, by the way.
Definitely.
So, anyway, thanks for listening. Matt Truman Ego Trip does the music. They're great.
Buy their albums.
Listen to the Queen City Podcast Network. Go to queencitypodcastnetwork.com. There's a bunch of podcasts on there. Listen to some other ones. I actually host another one, and I don't say any bad words.
Bragger. Why are you bragging?
In the Spotlight Podcast.
Why you gotta be a bragger?
Anyway, there's a lot of other good ones on there, though. There's the Podcast from Hell.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Charlotte Podcast. There's Cheers Charlotte Radio about beers, and I love beers. Listen to those. Shout out to Brian Baltashevitz with the Queen City Podcast Network.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else we got to shout out right now? I feel like somebody else was telling me they were listening. I was like, I didn't know you were listening. I'll shout you out. Queen Gwen. I mentioned her once.
Good job forgetting who that person was.
I can't remember. I do a lot of meth.
Meth or math?
I do math.
I do a lot of math.
I do math while I take Molly.
I do a lot of math.
Do you know what Molly is?
I don't even like math.
You know what the drug Molly is? Have
Yes.
you ever heard of it?
Yes, duh.
I've heard of it, but I don't know.
It's acid or ecstasy.
Is it ecstasy?
It's ecstasy.
I don't know what it is. I'm too old.
We're old.
Anyway, we're going to a Skittle party.
X.
Let's go to a Skittle party. See you later. It's where a bunch of teenagers put a bunch of drugs in a bowl and just grab handfuls and take whatever it is. You know what it is?
When you were all alone, no watchtower, kiss in the sky. Well, I was barely a glimmer in my young daddy's eye. Said that we're so tired of hearing about the 60s. One more time, I said we're so tired of hearing about the 60s. Well, make me shut my mouth now.
Asking Alice what's his tempting in town. Now you're stealing goofy money for the president's ball.
We're so tired of hearing about the 60s.
American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.